Welcome to Uniquely Loved, a celebration of authenticity and divine inspiration. We are encouraged to be our own unique, authentic selves. Join me, Witch Niki, as we discuss spiritual gifts and skills we can develop and enhance, speak with amazing people using their skills in a variety of ways, and explore the different ways to connect to the wonders of the universe. Hello, my loves. I have a special treat for you today. I would like to introduce to you Zachary Green. Zachary is a Marine Corp veteran. He was also a lieutenant in his local fire department. He started a company from the trunk of his car and took it to over $30 million in sales. He has received the Presidential E Award for his exporting and has been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, the front page of Yahoo.com, MSN.com, and even USA Today. He has advocated for small businesses in front of the U.S. House of Representatives. He is the author of the best-selling book, Warrior Entrepreneur, and Zachary has founded the Warrior Academy, designed to help people with the warrior spirit build up thriving businesses. Zach, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Nikki, thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here. I'm a huge fan of your show, so this is really great to be here with you today.
Thank you for saying that. So, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Went to probably 6 or 7 different schools growing up. I was the proverbial round peg trying to get into a square hole. I went to Catholic schools, private schools, Montessori schools, public schools, you name it. And I had really bad ADHD, which is interesting because when you get out of school, it's called multitasking. Then all of a sudden it's this great talent. But when you're in school, it's tough trying to sit at the desk and pay attention. I always knew I wanted to go in the Marine Corps and eventually went in the Marine Corps when I turned 18. I had to wait till I was 18 because my parents certainly weren't big fans of me going into the military. And was really interesting when I served my time in the Marine Corps, I couldn't understand why the kids that had the rougher backgrounds, the challenging childhoods, like some of the kids that grew up in the coal mines of West Virginia that literally had dirt floors, and the kids that grew up in the projects of Philadelphia that were getting shot at on the way to school, why did they do so much better than I did that grew up in somewhat of an upper class family? And every time I would have challenges, my parents would pull me out of the school and put me in a new school. And that's really where I learned this whole concept of the warrior's journey and how iron sharpens iron. And basically, I served for about 8, 9 years, got out. 2 years later, September 11th happened. I felt really guilty that I had, left the Marine Corps. And so I wanted to get back to serve my community again. And I became a volunteer firefighter. And my full-time job was at Eli Lilly. I was in brand development for, very large pharmaceutical company. Really loved the work I was doing there, learning about different types of diseases and how we can help people get through some of those challenges. And what I really learned at Lilly was it's not about the features and benefits, it's about the problem that you're solving. And with that in mind, I got lost in the fire very early on in my career as a firefighter. It was a horrific situation. I've got 80 pounds of gear. I'm pushing my way down the hallway thinking that I'm going to get to a door or a stairwell. And turns out I got 3 walls in front of me, and I had actually veered into a bedroom and went into a closet and was trapped. So finally got out, and as I was talking to my captain, he starts laughing at me. And I was like, look, this is really upsetting. I couldn't see anything. I was disoriented. And he's like, look, you just got to get used to that. That's part of being a firefighter. So I remembered this glow-in-the-dark material that we used on the back of our helmets in the Marine Corps. And I said, what if I could apply that same technology to firefighters? And I invented a series of glow-in-the-dark materials, literally started selling it out of the trunk of my car. And over the next couple of years, grew it to about a 30-something million company. So that's kind of my story that got me to where I am here today.
That's amazing.
There's been a lot of stuff I didn't tell you along the way that were very debilitating and difficult, but that's why I'm such a big fan of this whole concept of the warrior framework and warrior discipline, because that's how you prepare yourself for those challenges that ultimately come out.
And can you tell us a little bit about what prompted you to starting the Warrior Academy?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, after COVID, I realized a couple things. Number one, the world we're living in is changing, and number two is I really need to find a way to allow the company to stand on its own. I'm very involved in all the day-to-day operations and everything, so I was able to bring on a great executive team. Because of COVID, we could work via Zoom anywhere remotely. My family and I vacation in Hilton Head all the time in South Carolina, and we decided to move down here. So 2 years ago, we moved down here to Hilton Head, and I'm sitting on the beach smoking a cigar, looking off in the distance. About 4 miles off of my beach is actually Paris Island, and I'm thinking like, wow, this is incredible how full circle my life has taken me right back to really where I started. And I said, I got to write a book. And so the book really was about the lessons I learned at Paris Island. And then I started researching other cultures like the Spartans and the samurai, and then other entrepreneurs like Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla and Elon Musk. And I started to find all these common themes that you were seeing in both of these genres, and it's grit, tenacity, courage. But the big one that we really don't do a good job with is serenity. We talk a lot about the challenges we have in the military. The numbers are somewhere between 21 and 27% of the military suffers from some type of depression. For entrepreneurs, it's 71%. And the reason it's so high with entrepreneurs is if we lose not just our identity, we could lose our house, we lose our money, we go bankrupt, you lose your health in some cases, which I was guilty of that. Almost had a heart attack during my journey. And the importance of how we can look at some of those warriors of the past. I love the samurai because they spent more time on calligraphy and poetry and rock gardening than they did on swordsmanship, because they wanted to get that well-roundedness, the Far Eastern religions and how those can come into play to help you center and to help you find that serenity and peace, because you can't be a warrior on either the battlefield or in business if you can't get upstairs straightened out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, having that peace of mind is key to so much.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. So who do you cater to for the Warrior Academy?
So after World War II, 50 something, it was like 54% of veterans were small business, or 54% of small business owners were veterans. That number is 5.1% now. The other challenge that we've got is there was a recent study done by Pew Research, I believe, and they talked to HR hiring managers for major corporations. I don't remember the exact number. I think it was somewhere in the mid 40% range. They asked them, would you hire a veteran? And those 40-some% said no. And the reason they said no is they're afraid of the PTSD and they're afraid of the physical liability of having a veteran in their organization. This really shocked me and upset me down in my core, because our job of our military isn't just defending our country, it's producing great Americans. And that includes the time you take off the uniform and the time you're in the uniform. And now all of a sudden, our community doesn't value veterans. They look at us as broken. And look, we've been in a war for 20 years. We have a lot of challenges that we didn't have in the previous 20 years. But when all you hear about in the news is wounded warriors and PTSD and thank you for your service, you tend to think that all veterans are challenging. And it's absolutely vital that we take care of our brothers and sisters that are struggling. And I think we've got some great tools there. But I also want to show that we've got a lot more to offer. So to answer your question, that's who I'm catering. I want somebody that's a veteran that wants to pursue business ownership. It's a tough pathway, but I've really put together some tools and systems to help you learn what you did in the military. Even if you served for 3 years or if you served for 30 years, it doesn't matter. We're going to apply that. And the other thing is, you're not just limited to veterans, but I do want only warriors. And my definition of a warrior is someone that has struggle and challenge and grows from it. I'm just as interested in that single mom that got out of an abusive relationship and is trying to start her own business so her 2 kids could stay going to the good schools, as I am in that Navy SEAL. In some ways, that single mom's even more valuable because she's not been trained like the Navy SEAL is, but yet she still progressed through those challenges. And we can now build a community through really good tools and education on how to run your business and then how we can all support each other once those businesses are up and running.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic.
Been a real excitement as I've built this, and a great team of people. I've spent a lot of money on video production and creating really good graphics. I tell people it's more Sesame Street based than Harvard Business Review. I really love to use infographics and really simple tools. The program is 4 months. It's not like you just sit there and have a mastermind or you watch some PowerPoints. There's workshops. Every week is a workshop. And that workshop is going to start to build together your plan. So at the end of those 4 months, you've got a fully set up plan to run your business, to grow your business, to expand your business. And then the beauty is at the end of that course, where most of this is done virtually and done through a lot of Battle Buddy systems. So you'll have a course, a workshop maybe Monday, and then you'll do some follow-up work with your Battle Buddy later that week. And then we all come back together again the following Monday. But at the end of the course, we spend 3 days in Gettysburg, where we actually, and that's included in the course fee, and you actually walk the battlegrounds of Little Round Top and Pickett's Charge and apply those scenarios specifically to what we've been working on in building our business.
Okay. And is all of this online?
Yeah, so warrioracademy.com is the website. Now I spell it a little differently. It's spelled ACADEME. And the reason I do it with an E and not a Y is that's how Plato spelled the academy that Plato had back in the glory days of Greece. He felt the learning happens outside of the classroom. It happens in the garden, it happens in the field. So that's why we prefer to use the word academy, because you're not going to be in your office. You're going to be out actually doing something. So warrioracademy.com. We're about half full for our July cohort that's coming up, but we're going to probably be adding another cohort after that. And we've got lots of payment plans. You can pay it all up front. You can pay it over 36 months. So it really gives people the flexibility depending on where their budgets are.
Oh, that's really cool. Now, for those who are not really military minded, can you explain the whole Battle Buddy system?
Yeah, so we never do anything by ourselves in the military. And matter of fact, if I can get on my soapbox for a second, I think one of the absolute worst recruiting campaigns that ever was done was by the Army, where they said we're an army of one. We are not an army of one. Our strength is our team. So even when you go out on liberty, even when you're in battle, you always have a partner to watch your back. You may see the tattoos or sayings IG 6, I got your 6, I've got your back. And that's what we're doing. So what happens here is the way you're going to learn it is not just from the workshop, but then you're going to question your battle buddy, and then they're going to question you. And by you asking those questions, you may say, well, wait a second, I'm asking him about this, but I got to do it myself. So it's this whole concept of that group learning, the battle buddy, having you be held accountable and holding somebody else accountable is so much easier, because I think 90% of failure occurs because people just don't show up or they don't follow up. And that's where that Battle Buddy system really helps you with that accountability.
Okay. And do you keep the classes pretty small, or can they get pretty large?
Each cohort's, the target is 16 people.
Okay.
We'll go sometimes as low as 10 people, but really don't like to get much lower than that. But we want to make sure that you've got an opportunity for everyone to get a chance to work together. So, we have 8 battle buddies, and then you switch up every 4 weeks or so. So that way everyone gets a chance to cross-pollinate, and then we all get a chance to be together those last couple of days in Gettysburg.
I like how you said cross-pollinate.
Learn a lot from bees.
Hey, they're very productive. And working together is actually a core thing with bees as well as the military. So small cohorts from anywhere from 10 to 16 people, and they can learn from each other. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and really what I'm trying to do here, Nikki, is build a community. Yes, that's great. I can help each individual with their business, but I'm more interested in the change they can make for the rest of the world. And if I could have them then touch another 10 or 15 of our veteran entrepreneurs, and then those touch another 10 or 15, now we can really get some virality going around this movement and what we're trying to do here. One of the main causes, there's not one, but There's three main things that happen that end up with our brother and sister veterans end up in the horrible decision to take their life. The first one is you stop moving. You know, just getting up early, doing PT, having that team there, that becomes an issue. And when you stop moving, there's a total connection between the mind, body, and the spirit. So the second thing that happens is you lose your battle buddies, you lose your team, you lose your comrades. You go through a lot of very stressful things in the military, especially if you've been combat deployed, but even if you're not combat deployed, there's a lot of stress there. There's a really beautiful system that occurs there through a lot of gallows humor and a lot of very inappropriate things that you wouldn't say or do outside in the civilian world, but inside it's kind of our way of dealing with each other, and you lose that. And then the third thing, which is the big one, is you lose your sense of purpose. You know, a lot of people sometimes got frustrated with morning colors because they have to stop every day at 8 a.m. and salute the flag for the playing of the national anthem. But I love that. That centered me. That let me know why I was working that day. And it really gave us that purpose. Our purpose of not just the flag, but what the flag represents. It represents people that you disagree with completely, but you're still willing to put your safety and ultimately your life on the line for those people you disagree with, because that's what freedom is. That's what America is. Mm-hmm. And when you start to lose that sense of purpose and you lose your buddies and you lose that ability to connect that mind, body, and spirit, bad things start to happen. Those where those demons really start to show their ugly face. So if I can give you a team, fellow entrepreneurs, if I can give you purpose, which is truly delivering the American dream, you know, anyone can do anything, solve a problem, create some type of value, employ other people, employ yourself. That's why I really think we've got an opportunity to serve our brothers and sisters in a very unique way, but a very symbiotic way, if you will.
Wow, that I've seen a lot of people who just lose their sense of purpose and identity when they leave the military, and they're just like, what the heck do I do now? And that's actually one of the reasons why I got into what I do. So it's amazing to meet somebody who's taken a completely different approach, but you're building people up in such a way that sets them up for leaving an awesome legacy for generations.
Yeah, we're all in this together, and that's why I'm so attracted to you and the work that you're doing, because you know, not all size fits all, and we have to meet people where they are, not necessarily where we are. Mm-hmm. And lots of different options out there through, you know, different types of therapies and different types of ways of connecting with each other. And I think it's just fantastic. I'm very proud to know you as both a friend and as a fellow veteran.
And I didn't say it before, but thank you for your service.
Back at you.
Your story is just wild. The ups and downs that you've had and all the stuff that you have accomplished is just absolutely astounding to me. So the fact that you're taking all of your tools, all of your knowledge and experience, and helping people just change their lives.
You know, a lot of people only see the good stuff. They don't see all the stuff that goes into it. I tell people it's like sausage. You know, sausage tastes great, smells great, looks great, but if you see how sausage is made, you probably won't eat it again. And when you go through what happens in entrepreneurship and all those type of ups and downs, it's brutal. But I try to be really real. I use a lot of social media to let people know both the good and the bad and how things are coming out there. And you know, the bad is what A, makes you stronger, and B, it's also what helps you appreciate the good.
Yeah, and having some forewarning about the potential pitfalls can actually help people mentally prepare for them, instead of just seeing what most people put on social media. It's like, oh, just a highlight reel.
Yeah, I mean, the whole get rich quick thing it's not possible. And you've got such a small group. You're talking probably less than 5 or 10 people that are true influencers that can make money off of, you know, TikTok or Instagram. And then people just think, well, I'm just going to skip college and create this video. And all of a sudden, it doesn't work that way. You got a better chance of playing in the NBA than you do doing that. Mm-hmm. It's hard work, and it's a process. It's a proven process that is about consistency and grit. And the easy thing you can do as an entrepreneur is to quit. The hard thing is to stick it out. And it's okay to quit. It's okay to quit. It's not okay to give up. But it's okay to say, hey, this isn't working. Let's pivot and move on to something else. You got to keep that forward motion. Mm-hmm. But if you're the type of person that easily gives up, probably the military wasn't a really good place for you. And I can absolutely guarantee you that small business owner and entrepreneurship is not going to be easy, because you're going to encounter challenges and problems that will put the strongest of you to your knees.
Oh yeah. I know my time in the military definitely helped prepare me for all the challenges that running a business pose.
Yeah, it's a great teacher.
Finding anybody who has that warrior spirit and is willing to push through or even shift focus if, hey, this path isn't working, let me tweak things a little bit and let's try it this way. That takes everybody far in life, no matter what they choose.
Absolutely. And I think the missing thing that a lot of people think when they hear warrior is they don't realize that one of the other things important with warrior is that honor and that integrity, because you can kind of get blinded by just the mission. And if you don't have a good guiding set of principles and ethics, you can do some things that, yeah, you may make the mission, but it may not be worth it because of what you had to compromise. So knowing where that North Star is, and it's different, I can't stand people that say you should never lie, cheat, or steal. Okay, well, what about the people that were taking care of Anne Frank and the Nazis came on the door? Is it okay for them to lie to the Nazis to tell them that they weren't hiding there? You shouldn't steal. Well, what if your family's starving to death and you steal an apple that fell off the back of a truck? Is that okay? I don't know. So it's this, situation, but there are certain, and even killing. The Bible tells you that it's a misinterpreted thing. It's not thou shalt not kill, it's thou shalt not murder. You have to kill animals to get food. You have to kill others to defend yourself. So where those morals come into are areas, and they're different for each person. I mean, some people really stay one area or the other, but I always say is once you establish those lines, you can't creep outside of them, because that's when, once you creep out a little bit, you'll take a little more and a little bit more, and before you know it, you don't have your integrity anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And using your morals to set up your boundaries about what you're willing to accept or do is imperative no matter what. You're right.
Well, Nikki, thank you for your time today. This was great. I really enjoyed speaking with you.
Very welcome. And thank you so much for being here. I am going to put the link for your book and your Warrior Academy in the description. Where can people find your book?
Yeah, so obviously Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere the books are sold. But if you would prefer to give me a little extra money and not Jeff Bezos and Amazon, you can buy it directly from me at warriorentrepreneur.book.com. And if you put your name in there, I'm more than happy to personally and inscribe it for you. So go to warriorentrepreneur.book.com, or if you are on Amazon, please leave me a review, or feel free. The Amazon has, I think I have it on my site too, but we have an audiobook, we have an ebook, we have paperback, hardback, you name it.
Excellent. Excellent. And all these links will be in the description. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Nikki. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for joining me today as we explore what makes us uniquely loved. Be sure to subscribe. More adventure awaits. For more articles and to work with me as your personal guide, go to www.techwitchlayer.com. Always remember, you are accepted, you are valid, you are loved.